So what is up guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video I want to talk about inflation and deflation and what can we see in our economy in Canada or in the United States. So before starting with the video, please if you like this video at the end, you can hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. You're going to help me a lot by doing that. And also, if you have comments about this video, please leave those comments in the comment section below. And also, if you have ideas about future videos, please share those ideas in the comment section below too. First of all, we have to understand that inflation is nothing new. Like we can see here in the picture, that in the image, that we've had, at least here in Canada, inflation for the last 36 years. And as we can see here, in 1992 we have the highest, which was 5.63%, and in 1994 we had the lowest at 0.13%. So far inflation is nothing new. We have experimented inflation, and so far so good. But you may be wondering why we have inflation. Well, basically I'm going to give you 4 reasons, and I consider 2 of them to be the most important in all these. The first one is that the central bank keeps printing out digital money out of nowhere. So like I explained here in this video, you can go and check it out. I give more details about this. The second one is that the government keeps printing more money. In this case, the physical version, like bills and coins, for example. Again, you want to know more about this, you can go and check out this video. I explain more about all these. And why do they do this? Well, basically they do it just to stimulate the economy. By doing this, they want to inject more money into the economy, and they will make people to have more money, like companies, banks, for example, or even people like you and me. The third reason is because what we call demand inflation. And well, basically this is when there's a lot of people out there wanting to buy one product at the same time. Let's suppose we want to buy houses, because nowadays money is a lot cheaper to borrow. Well, basically a lot of people is having access to loans and stuff like that to buy a house. So there will be more people out there wanting to buy a house, and it can surpass the demand or the supply of houses at this time. So these people is going to be willing to pay more for the house than the other person, for example, and this will increase the price of the house just because I want to buy the house and because I have more money to buy it. And there is a fourth reason that I want to explain here, and this one is what economists call cost plus inflation. And it's when companies or factories, for example, they see the price of raw materials increase, and they have to add this extra cost to the final product. And basically they will pass on these extra costs to people like you and me. That's why we pay more for the same products. Like for example, the year before we paid like 50 cents less for a product than today. So this is the reason why. So companies will never lose money, because they will have to add the extra cost of the product, or the production of the product, to the product itself, and pass on these costs to the customers. And you may be wondering, what about the companies that offer services? Well, it's not only raw materials that increase the price, but also it could be land rent, for example, that is increasing the price, and employees that want an increase of their salaries, so they demand more money. And if the companies, they don't pay money, people will go and find another job and to make more money, so they have to increase, and therefore they have to pass on all these extra costs to the product. Well, basically these are some of the reasons why we see inflation in the economy. So you may say, but what is the problem with inflation? Well, actually there is no problem with inflation as long as it is under control. Like for example, the government of Canada is set to have inflation every year of up to 2%. So that is the target of the government. In this case, it means that the economy is growing, that there is more money out there. There are companies, they make more money, people, they make more money, because companies they can afford paying more or higher salaries to their employees, and people will have more money and spend all that money on the economy. They will buy more houses, they will buy cars, they will buy more products and services and stuff like that. But the problem is with when the interest rates go higher than expected. Like, for example, we saw in the previous picture that in 1992 we saw an inflation go up at 5.63%, and this is the problem, because from one year to another we are paying like 6% more for a product, and the problem is that the product is in value or in price is going up, but not my salary. It would be different if the inflation is, for example, 10%, but my salary is 10% higher than previous year as well. So it wouldn't matter if I pay 10% more for a product if I'm making 10% more by working at the same place in the same hours per week. So you may be wondering, what can you do to be less harmed by inflation, for example? Well, I would recommend to get assets like properties, in general, real estate, houses, for example, and also you can buy stocks, because these assets actually they do not lose value over inflation. On the contrary, they gain more value. Like we see now in Wall Street that the price of the stocks it's growing basically a lot more than expected, and this is because there are more people with money, because like I said and like I explained in my previous video, money is cheaper to borrow because the central banks here in Canada and in the United States, basically the interest rate it's between 0% and 0.25%. That means that money is way cheaper to borrow than last year, for example, and people is trying to use this money to make investments. They try to get assets because they know that if because the central bank is printing out a lot of money and is pumping all this money into the economy, well, basically we can expect a higher inflation than the previous years because of this. And now people is like getting ready at some point by getting or by buying these assets. Overall, money is just like another product, because the more money we have in the economy, the more it's going to lose value. Because if you have, like, for example, you have a lot of cars in the economy and they are ready to be purchased, well, basically, since we will have higher supply than demand, well, in order for the buyers to sell all or to get rid of these cars, they will have to lower the price. So people will be more, or it will be more attractive to people, and they will even try to buy these cars. They will buy these cars because they will say, okay, it's special, they're on special, so I better get another one before they increase the price. So, well, basically the same happened with money, since we see in the United States specifically, the central bank is like throwing money out of nowhere to the economy, that people may be like wondering if this is going to increase the level of inflation that the government planned for this year. And that's why you can see a lot of people buying houses or even more stocks than previous years. And they are doing this because they fear that inflation is going to soar. And why do I say this, especially the fact that people is buying more stocks than before, or there are more people getting into the stock market? Well, basically because, as we can see here, platforms like Robinhood, they have increased, or they have seen increased the number of subscriptions on their platforms. And well, it means that there are more people that is getting into the stock market and buying all these stocks. That's why it may be one of the reasons why the price of the stocks is going up over time. And now it's like, for example, Apple, we can see, we saw yesterday that it reached all-time highs. And well, it could be one of the reasons why. Remember that the stock market is really high and it's really big, and there are more than one thing that can influence the price of the stocks. So overall, the inflation is a good thing. It's not nothing new. It's, well, basically, like I said at the beginning, we have seen inflation for the last 36 years here in the country, in Canada, and we have to worry if inflation goes beyond the expectations, and also if, for example, inflation occurs in some products and not in general, like not in the whole economy. Like I said, if the price of one product increases more than expected, well, we are going to have a problem, because we are going to pay more for the same product, but my salary hasn't increased at the same rate. So these are basically some of the situations or the implications that inflation can have on the economy. So now I want to talk about deflation. And well, basically deflation is when it happens when my money, instead of losing its value, is going to gain more value. So now products are going to go, the price of the product is going to lower instead of going up. And why is this going on? Well, basically, let's see the situation that we are experiencing right now with the crisis that we all know. So because people doesn't know, or because of the uncertainty that we have, that we see in the economy, people doesn't want to spend a lot of money, and because they don't know what is going to happen in the future. They don't know if the economy is going to shut down again, and we will have to stay at home all the time. So instead, people is trying to keep their cash in the bank account. If this happens, well, if people will not buy as they did before, companies will not make the same profits. At some point they will lose money, and if companies they lose money, well, they will have to reduce the working hours of their employees, or they will have to lay off more people. They will have, or maybe they can go even bankruptcy, because they're not selling the same amounts that they sold last year. And if this happens, well, basically there will be more people out there without jobs, and the little amount of cash that they had in the bank account, they will now go out there and spend it. They will try to save as much as they can in order to be ready if ever something else happens. So all this over time creates a deflation, and it's actually really dangerous, because okay, you may be saying, oh, the products are getting cheaper and cheaper. Well, yeah, that is good, but at the same time, like I said, companies are going to lose money, because they will not make the same profit that they did previous years, and a lot of things are going to happen. We have a good example in Japan, that they have experienced deflation for over 24 years, something like that. And this is actually, instead of helping the economy, actually it's like slowing down the growth of the economy, because the prices of products is not increasing, and the salaries also, they're not increasing, because companies, they don't make the same profits, and if they don't make the same profits, well, it's obvious that they will not increase the salaries of their employees. They will not hire more employees. So this is something real that can happen. We can see here a list of countries that have experienced or are experiencing deflation right now. Overall, if we see inflation, my money is going to lose value. It's better if you make investments in the stock market, in the real estate market, or if you start a business, for example. And if we see deflation, well, in this case, my money is going to gain more value, and the products and services, they're going to lose value, and companies will not make the same profits that they did the previous years. And so we see that both are good but bad at the same time. It depends at the level at which we experience them. So this is all for today's video, and just let me remind you, if you like this video, you can like you can click the like button and subscribe to my channel. You are going to help me a lot by doing that, and also leave some comments in the comment section below, and see you on the next one.